Welcome to Midwest Sagacity. I'm your host, Midwest Savage, and today I'm going to get into how these clowns in government are handling the situation in East Palestine, as well as some of the effects on the people, the environment, and the animals around the area. Let's get woke. And I mean that in a good way.
At least 6 shots from inside the building. Parties are running out.
What do we got to do?
Tonight in Nebraska, an all too familiar tragedy narrowly avoided. Police say that
to get people to wake up.
This Omaha target nearly became the scene of yet another
Pentagon saying this is renewable. China has control over it.
The whole nation shocked by the disturbing body cam footage, showing officers repeatedly pummeling Nichols, who died of those injuries just days later. The 6th Memphis police officer involved in the initial traffic stop has been suspended. That's in addition to the 5 ex-officers who face murder charges. Democrats demanding action, but already dismissing bipartisan efforts at solving the problem.
All right, everybody. Gosh damn, man. This is fucking harder than you think. All right, everybody. I ain't going to waste your time like the fools in government. Let's jump right the fuck in.
FEMA is now sending a team to East Palestine, Ohio, and this comes more than 2 weeks after the train derailment threatened a small town. Governor Mike DeWine.
I mean, I can't even get 10 seconds in this report without, wow. 2 weeks. You think the government really cares? An actual disaster. Probably one of the biggest on land in a long, long time. And it's been 2 weeks.
Wine came under criticism for not requesting federal aid sooner. And then his office criticized FEMA over allegations FEMA was not stepping up to help.
You know, this kind of reminds me of stuff that just happens at work. Just one person after another not doing their damn job. And everything would be okay if everyone just did their damn job. But they don't want to do that. And then you get disasters. And the whole thing ends up breaking down over time.
Meantime, there are new reports that former President Trump will be visiting East Palestine on Wednesday. Trump is expected to meet with.
I think he's one of the first officials to actually go up there besides the, people that live there.
Community members. And now word that Aaron Brockovich will also be in East Palestine for a town hall meeting. News Nation was the first network to speak with her after the disaster. The conditions are so bad that one woman who News Nation has been in contact with has rashes on her body after showering. Let's get to News Nation's Rich McHugh live on the ground.
No, I don't really understand people. If something like that happens around your community, why would you even use the water until it gets tested and everybody's for sure? I wouldn't even touch that. I guess they got to do what they got to do, but I don't know. I wouldn't have trusted it.
In East Palestine, in which you spoke with a couple who's already having some negative health effects.
Hey, good evening, Natasha. That's right. So the first news is that the CEO of Norfolk Southern was here today, finally after 2 weeks, showed up, met with officials in this church behind me, closed door meetings, was escorted in and out by police, but was overheard telling someone he is here in support. The people we're speaking to don't buy it. For instance, they say that the health threat is real here, real time. One couple we spoke to went back to their house. We'd interviewed them earlier in the week. They went back to their house today for 30 minutes and had some crazy health effects. Take a look.
So we were in the.
Wow, this is the same lady, if you saw in my last video, that they tried to get to sign a paper relieving them of all responsibility of any damage to property or people because of this disaster. And yeah, here she is and has to talk about side effects of what's happened.
Kennel this morning, picking up some supplies. We left. I went home to take it to, home. I went back to the place where we were being evacuated.
Caitlin Schwartzwelder and her boyfriend Chris, after being evacuated, came back home today. But she says she broke out in a rash almost instantly.
I undressed to get into the shower, and I had a rash all over the side of my face, on both sides, and all over my chest.
Take a look at these photos of her this morning after coming back on her property. The rash all over her face, neck, and chest.
My boyfriend Chris also had.
Unfortunately, these are some of the side effects to high exposure to this vinyl chloride and hydrochloride.
I had a rash down his left side, and I mean, to this moment, right now, I have just a really low-grade constant headache.
They live nearly a mile from the derailment where Norfolk Southern released the toxins into the air 2 weeks ago. But their issues clearly persist. But with FEMA finally coming and with all the focus directed at East Palestine, these folks say they're forgotten because they live just over the state line in Pennsylvania.
And that's terrible. Why wouldn't the governor of Pennsylvania be sending people out there to help and get things tested when that was just a mile from his border? I would be pissed if I lived in Pennsylvania.
It's like nobody gives a damn beyond us.
They too were forced to evacuate.
And what if we couldn't afford to do any of this?
My wife is 37 weeks pregnant this Friday, and she's going to be induced. And it's all a little scary because...
That would be very scary. This stuff is so bad that it can cause damage with very small amounts in your body. And being that she's pregnant and it's a mutagen, it could cause birth defects. Now, being that the baby is so far along, it probably wouldn't be like physical birth defects, but it definitely could still have a neurological impact for sure.
We can't drink the water. Unable to get our water tested because we're not a priority as of now. So don't know what my newborn son is going to come home to.
John and Julie Kent fear the future of their horse sanctuary could be in jeopardy.
There was flames roughly a couple hundred feet into the sky. There was a black smoke cloud, and it was going over the horses. I would say that it was probably like no more than 10 feet above their head.
In the photos, you can see the toxic smoke flowing over their horses. They worry if they'll survive.
The horses and myself and anybody that was here really in this general vicinity.
You could probably call those horses gone. They're not going to live too long being exposed to that stuff. There's already reports of fish dying and all kinds of animals. Being that these are a little bit bigger, they could take a little more, but the damage is done, and it might take a while, but they're not going to live as long as they should.
Was exposed.
And while the governor of Ohio and others have said repeatedly the air...
My gosh, it's just what a good report. This is the second time that I've, went to actually look for information on this stuff, and I'm not getting a lot from Fox, CNN, any of these news channels, right? Fox is reporting on it, but I don't know if they're expending any resources to be here. These people, they've done a pretty good job. Prime News Station, News Nation, I don't know. I've never heard of them, but so far they've had some real reporting, and it's refreshing to see. But this picture right here, look at that cloud. It goes up and then it comes right back to the ground. Where do you think all that chemicals and stuff that didn't get burned off and was carried in that smoke, where'd that go?
Air and water is safe. It's clear that some of the toxins have taken hold.
A couple of miles outside of town, this is Leslie Run. I've heard this is happening. I didn't quite believe it, but watch this. So when you stick this stick in the water, all the chemicals come to the surface in like rainbows. It's quite alarming.
News Nation is...
Jesus. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that water for anything. I don't even know if that guy's brave. I wouldn't even have been near it.
Has asked Norfolk Southern CEO for an interview repeatedly, and we've sent a producer to their headquarters with no luck.
How does this whole experience feel for you?
That money matters more than humanity. Truly.
Now you know. No one cares. They don't.
Now, the police presence here has already stepped up just in the past 24 hours. FEMA is apparently going to be here tomorrow. Trump is coming midweek. So
we had to step up the police so FEMA could come in. What are they scared of? People rioting against FEMA?
Clearly, things are ratcheting up. Natasha, back to you.
All right, guys, I got one more video for you. It's a quick one. I just want to kind of show you how much of this chemical is in this water and some of the impacts on the animal life inside of the water. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Wow.
Look at all that.
Look at it.
It's all in the bottom of the creek bed.
Now, from that demonstration, that last video that guy did, it was a good demonstration to show some of that, but this really puts it home, doesn't it? Means this stuff is in high amounts, high concentrations at the bottom of that creek bed.
There are literally hundreds of dead fish, all coming from the one creek that's coming from the wreckage. That fish in this one is actually probably about a foot long, so it's not just the little ones. And then you see a bunch of little ones scattered around it. Little beaver runs into big beaver, runs through our state park.
You guys are getting any of your water from any of those creeks or rivers, don't trust it. Do some independent testing, get it tested. I wouldn't even trust the government at this point. The EPA was coming out and saying the fish are already repopulating and everything's dead in these creeks.
And there's dead fish everywhere. I can't even begin to imagine the trickle effect we're going to have on the wildlife around here.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. You know, if we're going to pay people to do a damn job, they need to do the fucking job. We're going to pay these assholes to manage situations like this. And then it's 2 weeks out and not one of them have been there. Secretary of Transportation hasn't even went to this disaster after there's been over 300 train accidents within the last year. You got to be fucking kidding me. It's time for people to wake up. If you live in Pennsylvania, you need to call your governor and get his ass moving so he can get those people's water tested, get their land tested for all those toxic chemicals that were just spewed all over them due to them setting it on fire in Ohio, 1 mile away from the border. You can't just forget about your people, and we can't just let them get away with that shit. If they ain't doing their job, they need to get the fuck out. It's time that we stop taking sides with these people and get the losers out of here. People that are just collecting a paycheck and not doing shit. Man, this makes me so damn angry. It makes me angry that people keep voting for these incompetent assholes. You guys should check out the video online of Pete Buttigieg, and somebody's asking, hey, are you going to go visit the Ohio? He's the Secretary of Transportation. And he said, it's my personal time right now. I might go do it. You know what it's going to take for us to get these politicians off their ass and actually doing their job? All it takes is all you got. Peace.